So, hello dear students, welcome back to the learning environment of YouTube. And it is our third video of the communication series. And in this video, we are just going to talk about the communication barriers. So, starting from the scratch, so what is communication barrier? So, we have discussed about how a communication is helpful for the development of any society. But in this video, we are just going to how a barrier can affect the communication. So the factor which obstruct the effectiveness of the communication is known as communication barrier. Suppose what is the use of communication? To be the more output of a communication, there should be a good contact between the sender and a receiver in any communication. But there are some barriers that can obstruct the effectiveness of the communication. Suppose the it can reduce the output of the communication that it should be. So what are those barriers? So the some of the barriers are like physical noise, somatic noise, selective perception, distortion and filtering, communication gateways, interpersonal trust, listening, feedback, and non-verbal communication. These are the some kinds of communication barriers. So we will study one by one in our note. So our first barrier is physical noise. So how can be a physical noise be a barrier to any communication? Like physical noise is any external or environmental stimulus that distract us from receiving the intended message sent by the communicator. Suppose you are in a busy traffic and you are just talking on a phone. It is also a communication, digital communication that you are doing with your friend. But at that time there are so many horn sounds and all these traffic sound just behind you that can reduce the effectiveness of your communication with your friend. So you can count this as an example of physical noise can be a barrier of the communication. So next is semantic noise. So what is semantic noise? Semantic noise is a type of communication noise that occurs when the sender and the receiver have different meanings or interpretation of the word, symbols or sign used in the message. Suppose there are two friends, they both know the different languages. But if the one friend is just talking about any topic, this perception of the second friend might be different just because he had lived another life and he have just faced another culture. So that's why there may be a different meaning or interpretation of the word, symbols or sign used in a message. So moving next is our selective perception. Actually every person or every human being have their own perception. Like in other words, selective perception is a form of bias because we interpret information in a way that is congruent with our existing values and belief. Suppose there is a lawyer and there is one a police. So lawyer work on how a judicial activities happen, and the police works on how administration things happen. If both people have their own perspective, like police wants that there should be no any crime, but a lawyer wants there should be no any victim or a person who is not a victim but that not be punished. Victim can't be punished. So that is the perception of a lawyer. But police is just like everyone is a suspect. Like whenever a crime happen, he just see everyone as a suspect. So everyone has the different perspective. So we can say that selective perception can be a type of barrier during a communication between two people. So moving next, distortion. What is distortion? Distortion is a change, twist or exaggeration that makes something appear different from the way it really is. Suppose there is a leader and he is just giving a speech. Hope you have listened about the speech of Rahul Gandhi. His from potato to gold, his speech you have listened about that. We can suppose it as a distortion. He was tried to deliver something else, but his message was understood in a different way. You can understand it that way. Distortion is a change, twist or exaggeration that makes something appear different from the way it really is. He was trying to deliver something else, but the receiver or the people understood it different way. So the next is filtering. Filtering refers to a sender's purpose manipulating information so the receiver will see it more favorably. Suppose there is a leader and he is just trying to deliver a community and attend a community. Then he will means do anything else, like the receiver are going to think about more appropriate, like communal speech, like these all things are happen to gain the more attention of the people or the receiver that are listening to you. Just because suppose there is a community, suppose there is a community A if you are talking about and if you are talking with that community, you have to talk about like related to the topics to manipulate their ideas to community A, so that everyone think about that only and they will understand it better. So filtering can also be a kind of communication barrier if you are not adding these things in your communication. So moving next, communication gateway. Suppose there are going to be something event and the people are just in a very large number. So if you are just delivering your message, you can't use your vocal voice. You have to use like machines like microphone, USB and all these things. So these are kinds of this can be considered as a gateway. If you are delivering your message to electronic devices, like you can read here, communication gateway is a gateway device that can handle data transfer between host device and the slave device, like without communication programs. Like if you are speaking in a mic and the large audience in just listening to it, that is a kind of communication gateway. This can also be a kind of barrier sometimes if there is a problem in a mic and there is a problem in a headphone or anything else. So that can be also a kind of communication barrier. So moving next, interpersonal trust. If you are just communicating with a person, there should be a trust between A to B. If there is a possible conversation between A to B, there should be a trust. Without trust, the communication is not that much fluent and the outcome can be minimized. So interpersonal trust is so much important to meet the more outcome of any communication. So next topic is listening. Actually, listening is one of the best part of the communication, as we also say that a good listener is a good thinker or good speaker. So we can say that listening is the most important communication skill. We probably spend more time using our listening skill than any other kind of skill. Like if you are doing more observation, good observation, that can be more effective to your communication. So that's why if a person is not listening any senders or anyone, so that doesn't means he is going to speak good well. So you can also consider it as a listening as a communication barrier. So the next is feedback. Feedback is also too much important. Like if a sender wants to connect with a receiver, what the outcome of the communication, so feedback is too much necessary at that scenario. Feedback is response, reaction or information given by the recipient of a message to the sender. Like how we are just watching you, how the things are we are interpreting about the senders or anything. Suppose I am giving I have a company A and I am giving some speech about A to a large community. So after my speech, I will ask about how what are your confusions and how you think that this company should grow. So with feedback, we can increase the effectiveness of the communication. So we can say that without feedback, a communication is a waste. So we can say that feedback is also a kind of communication barrier if it is not taken. So the last one is non-verbal communication. There are so many drawbacks in non-verbal communication. Like if you are transferring our views through a non-verbal communication, there might be a wrong interpretation. Like if you are giving any facial expression to a person, that can be interpreted wrong way by that person, because perception of every person is different. So we can also say that non-verbal communication has also a communication barrier. So hope you have understood what I am trying to tell you, that how things can be a barrier to a communication and it can reduce the effectiveness of the communication. So hope you have understood. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care and bye bye.